Everybody, welcome back. I'm excited to have this conversation. Of course, we've been very fortunate to have in our midst here in Park City a film studio for several years now. That being said, things feel like they're really getting ready to crank up. We've had a change in ownership at the Park City Film Studios, including a name change to the Utah Film Studios, which I have to say reflects an amazing industry that we have here in Utah, and a fellow who has a great deal of responsibility for the success that we have already experienced in the film industry in Utah is sitting right beside me. He spent a lot of time as the executive director of the Utah Film Commission, and now he has a few new titles. We'll get all of those straight. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but suffice to say, if you need any information or connection to Utah Film Studios, you need to talk to Marshall Moore. Hi, brother. How are you?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, yes, it's a pretty
Utah
big
Film
deal.
Studios.
Yeah, a lot of changes have been going on since we last met. Of course, they were always in the works.
Yeah.
But things are kind of finalized now and settled down, so we have a clear direction and new ownership. And the management's been in place since April, but the ownership actually became official about 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you've been there from the start.
Going on 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and even longer than that. I've involved with the project from when I worked at the State Film Commission as well.
And talk a little bit about, I always think about the fact that in some ways kind of the change of ownership isn't, I don't want to say it's not conversation worthy, but it's not where your focus is. It's certainly not where our focus is going to be going forward. But talk a little bit about the good stuff of going forward, and Gary Crandall being the majority owner, as I understand now, and I may be using my terms incorrectly, but he's the guy in control.
Owner. Yeah.
Talk
Crandall
a little
Capital,
bit
Gary
about
Crandall. Yeah, they're the new owners officially, and of course making the payroll and doing all the things that they need to do to get the studio up and running and acting like a studio, a welcoming place where we can promote and bring productions to. And
you've got. It sounds like, and again, I'm not super into the details of it, but it sounds like you've got a really nice runway now, and sounds like maybe you're going to be a little bit more involved in the attracting of folks to the studio. Not that you haven't always been involved in that, but
sure. And there's been a little, uneasiness in terms of our ability to move forward, with that litigation hanging over the studio, and the uncertainty whether from day to day the studio is actually going to be there and be able to accommodate long-term projects. That was always kind of worrisome to producers, I'm sure to local people here, as to seeing an empty parking lot every day when you drove by wasn't a good thing. And then people would ask me, hey, is the studio still open? And yes, it was. And it was that time we were doing a lot of one-offs, a lot of commercials. They last 1 or 2 days. We'd do a corporate event, and that would last a day or two. Maybe a commercial, and that would last a week. So you'd see an empty parking lot quite a bit. And then, you want a studio like that. It's built to fulfill certain things, and one of those things, it's built to accommodate a TV series, and that was the whole idea, because what that does is create long-term jobs, long-term immediate cash flow into the community. So you have people coming and staying in hotels, people buying the food, creating jobs for the local film community, both locally here in Park City, Heber, Salt Lake City. And the show we have in there now is doing that. It's creating opportunities for vendors, for crew, for cast, extras, everything. And it's fulfilling the measure of its creation, really. It was created to accommodate large-scale production, and it's doing just that now. But in between, the market is cyclical.
Sure.
And you don't always have one of those at your doorstep. But when you do, you realize this is why you built a studio this big. It's 300 parking spaces. Well, they're all being filled right now.
I've been driving by and seeing it, and I have to agree, just as a parkite, I drive by and I go, yeah, sweet.
Well, and we hope that's what everybody sees, that they see the activity means something to the community, that it's a vibrant place to come work, and the people that are coming in from out of town are falling in love with Park City and the surrounding areas. They're using the stages wall to wall. There's sets on all 3 stages. The shop is being used, what it was made for, to have the construction workers come in and have a place to fabricate these sets. So everything is being used according to the plans. And we have to give credit where credit is due, and credit to the Erickson family too for having this idea and following through
Truly.
and getting it to the point that the Crandalls could take it over.
Got some great shots here of the studio in action. Looks absolutely fantastic. It's exciting. You know, you mentioned before we came on camera that there hadn't been quite as much outbound messaging, marketing communications, that kind of thing in the past, and you indicated that there's going to be more of that coming up. I have to say that I'm excited and really interested to see what form that takes, because I think that you've really made a good point in that this is a community facility. It's a community business, and we're in a small town, and Park City is our
and everybody has a vested interest in it, because there was so much elbow grease and work and sweat, equity that went into going from a field of dirt to what it is today, a world-class, first-class motion picture studio. And just having, like the pictures you were just looking at, I mean, those kind of tell a story. There's been 36 projects that have actually worked there. Most people would call me, hey, you still open? Yes, we are, because when you get a series, you can tell that, but not so much in between, because there's downtime sometimes in the industry. We don't like that. But
and there's confidentiality as well, I'm sure, with some projects that
you certainly have that too. I mean, you always can't tell everybody exactly what's going on behind the wall.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's not our job to do that. They have publicity people that are hired to do that, and they do it strategically.
And
our job is to make sure they're having a good experience while they're here in Park City, while they're here at the studio, so that they want to come back, that they keep on making a show like Yellowstone here or any other show that comes there in the future. It's all about the experience. It's all about, the locations nearby. Do they match the story? And fortunately, with Blood and Oil, with Wind River, with Yellowstone, they all matched. They all synced to where the studio was perfectly positioned for them to not have to travel too far to find the types of locations they were looking for. Small towns, wooded areas, streams, meadows, fields, farms, ranches, barns. All those things were things that they were looking for in their nearby locations, and the studio serves as a platform for all those things and gives them a home base.
It's really cool. You mentioned Yellowstone, the current production that's here.
I did mention that, huh?
You did, and of course, we're all very well aware that it's always kind of the totem, I think, of any of those kinds of productions is the fact that we have the legendary, I think it's very fair to say, the legendary Kevin Costner. The guy has been in so many amazing movies. Dances with Wolves is one that I know goes down as
and I'm
one
a Field of Dreams
films.
Guy.
That's right. That's right. You are. You're a big baseball guy.
I actually have a baseball that's autographed years ago by Kevin Costner, where he says, "You want to have a catch?" and it's signed Kevin Costner. But then I have 7 other signatures from the cast on that ball that I've met through the years and worked with in the industry.
Interesting. So that's really cool.
I hope to be able to show it to him.
Well, as an Iowa boy, I certainly have great memories of Field of Dreams and that same kind of thing. Of course, we're a remote location in Iowa, and not a lot of film projects come through there, but talk about it couldn't be a bigger deal. I mean, literally the entire state was excited, and I remember those times. So
well, he's just loving it here from what I understand. We at the studio, we haven't really interfaced with him yet. We've seen him. He's come in for wardrobe fittings and met with the producers and the writers and all those kind of things. But I know that he's making his way around town. He's enjoying the restaurants, some golf, and doing some other things. So that's kind of from afar. That's how we at the studio have kind of interfaced with Kevin so far. But they haven't shot a single day at the studio yet. That's still to come. The construction of the sets have been going on for a while. And, they started the show by filming in Montana. And the first few days were there. And then they've been on location ever since in Utah and surrounding areas, not too far from here.
And I have to say, to kind of follow along with that, is that, a lot of folks, they sold out the O.P. Rockwell Theater up at the top of Main Street last Sunday night for Kevin Costner's band. To me, that's a real gesture of goodwill. I mean, like you say, that guy's here to work. And as I'm sure the lead character, if not a lead character, it's not like he's here vacationing. He's got a busy schedule, and so for a guy like that to do something like that, and I think really reach out to the community and say, hey, you know, we worship these people, and we don't always get to see them close up. So for a guy like that to go play a show that people could go, and you know, I saw a number of friends who had, you know, pictures with him at the show and that sort of thing. I mean, that feels like the kind of goodwill that we've always been expecting, I guess, or certainly excited about having a film studio right here in Park City. So
well, that certainly is the
stuff.
allure part of it. You know, there's a lot of interest, like who's coming, who's going to be in this show.
Right.
But you get just the opposite too. You get commercials, and you know, you get other
Sure.
you know, types of projects that are equally as important for the viability of the studio. But ideally, you always want to have a long-term project in there. Like a TV series. So this is our second big TV series since the studio opened in 2015, and in between there was just a series of independent film, and which is great too. But that's what kept us going, kept the lights on. You know, if we didn't have anything during that time, there may not have been a chance for Yellowstone to use our building.
Right,
It might not have
right.
existed. I don't know. It could have been in some other shape or form. Who knows? But we're happy they. Well, and what started this all really was our relationship with Taylor Sheridan, who's the writer, director, and creator, really, of Yellowstone, but was also the writer-director of Wind River, which was in Sundance last year and doing quite well, actually playing in the theater in this building right now.
Yes, it is.
Because of him and the fact that he moved to Park City, all of a sudden we became #1 on their search for the location to shoot the show.
Sure.
Yeah, even though it takes place mostly in Montana.
That's all right. We'll take it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you manage, from a business perspective, this, like you say, it's great that you have a long-term project in there, a television series, and of course we all know that the survival of any television series depends on ratings, and also depends on things other than ratings. When studios decide they're going to go in a different direction, that kind of thing, and I don't know, you know, all of the kind of the production participants in this particular show, or actually I don't even, I'm guessing it's going on ABC. There's no basis for
totally
that.
different. That was Blood and Oil. So this is going to be this is going to launch a brand new network called the Paramount Network. It's going to, from all I've read, and I don't know all the details, but from all I've read, it's going to replace Spike TV. And this will be one of their new scripted signature dramas that will launch the network in the spring.
And here we are in 2017 when television really sits right alongside film in terms of quality. In the old days, right, it was Starsky and Hutch, and it was cheap production values and that kind of thing. But and even more to the point of a guy like Kevin Costner, a guy who's got Academy Awards on his mantle, not only doing TV but working with, as you say, a startup
and
network.
once again, Taylor Sheridan squarely in the middle of that. He wrote a great script, great pilot, because I've only read the pilot, but it's tight. It's a lot like Wind River, very tight dialogue. It's very simple as well, but complex in its execution. So I know that they've done a lot of stunts, a lot of special effects already. There's some heavy dramatic scenes. So he signs on because a guy like Taylor Sheridan is right squarely in the middle of it, and he's very talented, and he's had, you know, the run with Sicario and Hell or High Water. So all successful projects in the last couple of years.
And that's exciting that we're a part of that, for sure. We've been
we're thankful for him that he, you know, believed in us. I mean, he's very loyal, Taylor is, and one of the things he said, he came to do a recut on Wind River a few months ago, actually, probably in the spring, I guess is when it was, and he pulled me aside in the hall, and he said, I'm working on a big series, and we're going to bring it here to the studio. And when most people say things like that, it's like, right. Well, when Taylor said it, I knew he meant it.
That's great.
And that's
really
the
cool.
difference between a guy like him and some others who talk a lot, promise a lot of money and all this, but the reality of it is it's talent and it's loyalty, and those are the things that have brought this show to Utah. Of course, they needed our locations and our rebate too. I mean, those are all factors. There's so many factors that go into play when a production is choosing where to shoot their show, because they have more than one choice. This could have easily gone to Canada.
Absolutely.
They could have tried to do it in Montana, although they don't have a lot of film infrastructure there. They could have filmed in LA for the sets and gone on location to film all the location sequences. So to get everything to line up like it did, and they worked very closely with the State Film Commission, is great for the entire state and especially Park City.
No question. And I see in you making the comment that Taylor loves it here. He wants to be here. There's
he wanted
the
to
beauty
be at
of
home.
Park City.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, he's
exactly.
not home very much because he's directing the show and then he's
Sure.
writing the scripts and
Sure.
he's producing and he's editing and all that. But at the end of the day, he gets to be at home.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's great to see you. I'm so happy for all of this news, and I can't wait to see what's going to be coming down the pike as things continue onward.
It's all great news. Everything that's happened, especially in the last 2 weeks, but in the last few months, is great news for the studio. The Crandalls love the studio. They put a lot of tender, loving care into it. They've
That's great.
added things, updated things, and made sure we had the proper staff to run it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm very happy for you. And like I say, I can't wait to see where we're at a year from now, 2 years from now, without
Me
a
too.
doubt. I bet. And
It's
where
off to a good start.
Yes, it
Yeah.
certainly is.
Yeah.
Where should folks go for more information on the studio?
Well, I'd like to say our website, but that's still not kicked in yet. So
sure.
I would
That
say
makes sense.
our Instagram and probably our Facebook page, which is going to be Utah Film Studio. So they can go to those two places or just show up at the studio and be turned away by security.
I was going to say, I don't imagine that if you go to the studio that you'll see Marshall in the guardhouse.
Yeah,
there.
and-
Like,
and
hey,
so-
hi, come on in.
Because this is all so new, we're
Sure.
relaunching the website, the Facebook page,
Yeah,
the
makes
Instagram
sense,
account.
makes
And
sense.
Instagram just kicked in this afternoon.
Oh, great.
So we'll
we
start
got Zach, our social media man, is on the case. and
Zach
here
is
with us
handling all our
tonight.
social media. He's here tonight in the studio.
Fantastic.
Going to take a few pictures and post
Excellent.
them.
Well, I'm so happy, and I know that I speak for the entire community, that this is something that we've been excited about, and feels like now we've got that runway that we really needed.
I
to
hope
be able
everybody's
to-
feeling better and that this is a little resolved. And look, I know not everybody's a huge fan of having a film studio right here in Park City, but it's a good thing. It really is a good thing because of the business, the consistency of the business that it brings. There's a lot of diversity here. You've got
Yes,
you've got the
that
ski
was
business,
exactly
you've got the
the-
summer business, but film can go year round. It can
Sure.
be winter, spring, summer, or fall.
Yeah.
You know,
Good stuff, man.
And
Sure.
so it's a good thing. Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Appreciate
Nice
it.
to see you. Don't be a stranger. I'll come down and see
You'll
if
come
I can
take a
get
tour,
past, get past
and then I'll come
security.
back and update you again when it's appropriate.
Open invitation, my
All
friend.
right.
Good
Thank
to see
you.
you.
Thank you.
Marshall Moore, the Utah Film Studios. Stay tuned. We'll have more information for you as their website comes online. And of course, they're going to be a very visible part of our community, as we have all been looking forward to. We'll go take a quick break, and then we'll talk about some weather and have some more music, if that's all right with you.